Times are tough, so save time and money by skipping business trips and using GoToMeeting. Visit gotomeeting.com/techpodcast and get 30 days for free. It's the big CTIA wireless show in San Diego, and that means this week is full of mobile news. Today we're hearing a couple big mobile announcements. First on the docket, Palm has announced their strategy for releasing apps and approving apps for their app catalog. They're actually allowing paid applications in their app catalog as well. But most notably, the news came out today that they're going to allow any application to be installed at any time by using a Palm URL. Essentially, this will cut some of the headache that's been so noted in the Apple development process, and developers will be able to install pretty much any app without necessarily getting it approved first. What does this mean? Does it mean anything, or is it still too far away to actually mean something for Palm? We bring in a couple technology journalists. First off, Todd Haselton from LaptopMAG. Todd, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Randall.
Also, we bring in Kevin Tofel from JKOnTheRuns. Kevin, thanks for being with us as well.
Good to be here, Randall.
It's a weird situation. I'm pretty excited about it. The fact that developers won't have to at least be totally dependent on the app catalog. Of course, the most easy way to install applications will still be that app catalog. Instead, they'll have to pay $50 to get admitted to the app catalog, making the selection a lot, you really got to commit if you're going to submit one of these applications. Todd, what's your take on the news today? I mean, this is a big point of contention for nerds when it comes to the iPhone. Is this sort of clearing things up a little bit for Palm?
Yeah, I think it's great news, especially if Palm wants to have an app catalog as large as Apple's, or at least claim they do. They can, developers will be able to submit an app, and they have to agree. I just talked to Palm. They have to agree to terms of service to get this URL. Palm will then give them a URL that they can put on their website, and anybody can then download that application and choose to pay for it. It's not all free. You can charge for your applications, and it goes through all the payment issues. And then you can choose to pay for it on the Palm device itself.
Interesting stuff. So essentially, if you want to build an application and you agree to the terms of service, and of course it can't be like ruining Palm devices probably, if they'll just basically approve any application beforehand for a URL. Now, Kevin, I mean, what's your take on this? Obviously, iPhone developers have been whining a lot about this, and geeks too, Michael Arrington among others. What's your take on this sort of development?
So I'm kind of on the fence here. On the one side, Randall, I can see how this would be appealing to developers, especially folks who feel stymied by the iPhone process or the iTunes process. But on the other hand, I don't know that it makes sense to have a distributed catalog in two places. The rise of app stores has been because they've been easy to just go one place, right on your phone, grab what you need. The other thing is, if there's no approval process, what's that going to do with potential future carriers, who may not want to carry Palm because, hey, anything goes with the apps now?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting thing for sure. Now putting this in broader perspective before we get to the next Verizon issue, does this mean anything for consumers right now, Todd, in your mind? If you're looking at buying a Palm Pre in the next, say, like 6 months, does this shift your thinking, or is it still more like wait and see for you?
I think it's a wait and see approach, but I think the more applications that are available for a device, the more attractive it can be for the consumer. I mean, if you're stopping applications from coming in, there could be consumers that want those applications, and that's why people have gone out with the Palm Pre and worked in the I forget what they're calling it, cracking it, so to say, to use the other applications out there.
Yeah,
and now to do that, maybe.
Yeah, there's a vibrant homebrew scene going. And,
homebrew, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things too where people have added Google Voice, for example, to the Palm Pre already, and some carriers might have issue with that. Like Kevin mentioned earlier, some carriers want to make sure that their current businesses are preserved. Verizon today, surprisingly from Verizon, they announced that they're teaming up with Google to actually unveil 2 new Android handsets over the next month or so, and then after that, they're going to support Google Voice on their network. Now, Kevin, AT&T, iPhone, Google Voice, lots of drama a couple months back. Verizon's obviously trying to become the open carrier, which they haven't traditionally been in the past. Is this a lot of hot air, or do you think this is actually legitimately good for consumers?
I don't think it's hot air at all. This goes back, if you recall, a year and a half ago when Verizon said, any app, any device on our network. They were touting open, 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 but they really didn't, put their money where their mouth is. They're starting to do that now with this announcement with Google. And as a Google Voice user, I'm thrilled to hear this. I'm starting to wonder, if Verizon is going to embrace this open nature, they may just concede the iPhone and its closed ecosystem to AT&T and say, you know what, you can have it. We're going to go open with Android, and that's that.
It's definitely an interesting take, especially because Verizon, for years, had been one of the most restrictive carriers, limiting things like transferring music from a computer to a phone, making people use their VCast service instead. This is obviously a departure for that. Todd, what's your take on the news?
I agree with Kevin. I think it's a good approach to go against AT&T that way if that's how they're handling it. But I don't think there's anything necessarily new here. I mean, BlackBerry users have been able to download Google Voice already, and just because it's available for Android, of course they're going to pick up Android handsets, and Google Voice is available for Android handsets. So
yeah, I mean,
they could be that way too.
I think one of the things for me, I really don't trust Verizon at this point. They've done a lot of shady things in the past, and like Kevin was saying, last year they were touting this open any device, whatever, while simultaneously behind the scenes trying to change things so that the 700 megahertz, without going into the nerdy details, they were trying to make it so that they could, end up using closed rules on new open networks. So, I mean, I'm still in a wait-and-see approach for Verizon, but I guess, I don't know, maybe we'll see something out of this. Guys, we're going to leave it there. Todd Haselton from Laptop Magazine, thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Also, Kevin Tofel from JKOnTheRuns, thanks for being with us as well.
You got it.
I'm Randall Bennett, and don't forget, you can catch us on iTunes. We're on YouTube. Special thanks to our sponsor, GoToMeeting. You can get 30 days for free if you go to gotomeeting.com/techpodcast. We'll hook you guys up there. Anyway, I'm Randall Bennett. See you next time.
Promo code AFTVI123 and get 15% off any order from eastbay.com.